Welcome to Toffee Review, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. Terry and Max, so nice. They're joining me, tolerating my presence. We're gently delving into the transfer rumors on this segment. Just a slow trickle into it because, as we know, come January, all bets are off, hell breaks loose, and we get connected with every single center back and every single everything. Every agent name drops us because we're the hot young team, you know. So I'm fine with it. Whatever. Just means a lot of reading, trying to siphon through what's the shit and what's the wheat from the chaff, if you will. Two new ones. First one, let's start with Gabriel Barbosa. You may know him as Gabigol. He's got goal in his name. Just saying. He's an Inter Milan player, but he's currently on loan with Santos in Brazil, where he's got 18 goals this season. I think he led the league in scoring. He's an interesting player when you watch him. He doesn't seem like super speedy. Doesn't seem like he's got a lot of pace, but he's a really clinical finisher, very intelligent. Plays more of a second striker role rather than the lead striker. Like, I don't know how he would play that lead striker role in England, where it's even more physical. Just had a nightmare situation at Inter. He's 22 years old. I didn't realize he was this young. Are you kidding? He's a young guy. And he could cost potentially less than $20 million. And that could end up happening in January. As I've heard, he is probably off to another club in January. So, what do we think of Gabigol and how in the world? Because when you watch tape of him, it's interesting. He wears the number 10 on his back, but you often don't see him being that lead guy in his highlights. He seems like he's a little further back.
Yeah, he comes across as a second striker to me.
He is.
It seems like we've got this real South American fever about us at the minute. We're going, and the template seems to be they've got to be young with a lot of promise. Obviously, with Gabigol, it's an interesting kind of case study because obviously signed from Santos to Inter, and I didn't see a whole lot of him at Santos. Obviously, you see highlights, and I was really expecting him to blow up at Inter and become this emerging presence and a great centre forward. But it didn't work out for him. And Inter did have a great season last season under Spalletti, getting the Champions League, and he just seemed to be a bit of a cast out. Obviously, went on loan at Benfica, back at Santos, back at the club from which is always quite an interesting one for me because that may just kind of be his home, if you know what I mean. But I think when it comes to these transfer discussions, my reaction instinctually will be if you get the okay from Brandon Silva, you get an okay from me. You know, as I say, they seem to have this template of player that fits into the Everton project, and so far so good. So if they are interested, I'm interested too.
Isn't it's such a boring way to think, but it's such a comfortable thing. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what? I trust those guys.
Yeah,
I do at this point. You know,
it's foolproofing your own thoughts, really. You know, you just kind of think, what would Marcel do? But yeah,
WWMD. That's.
But I don't know. I just got to say, I don't obviously know enough about him to see if would he hit the ground running if he come to Everton. I don't know.
No, we are clearly not experts on the two players we're discussing today, but done a little research, and at least get the ball rolling on the conversation about them. Obviously, if these links continue, they will get stronger. We will continue to learn more about them. Think about how they'll fit in. What he seems like is a player that we don't have a lot of. The idea of a second striker, giving us a different look. That's, I don't know. And also one who's clinical. in front of the goal. Doesn't really seem like a bag of nerves. However, one of the things that some people have said is if he gets his head on straight. Whenever I hear that kind of phrase, I get a little worried. Makes me worry that maybe there's an attitude problem of some sort. But again, Sylvan Bronze, if it's an attitude problem, they're not going to bring him. They brought in like good people. So what do you think, Terry, about possibly bringing in a second striker Brazilian who's banged in 18 goals but not necessarily known for his pace?
I don't believe it. It smells an awful lot like an agent putting the link out there because his player needs a club soon. So does his loan at Santos, does that finish in January?
What I've seen is that I believe it does. Okay, I believe that season in Brazil ends. They said that he's going to end up. The article I read is that he's going to end up the leading scorer in Brazil. So I believe that's right. Totally did not do it. But what the articles that I've read said that he's almost certainly off to a new club in January. This was more than one.
Bound to be, really. Not getting in ahead of Mauro Icardi or Vitor Martinez.
No.
He does fit the profile of players we've bought recently under this current regime because, I look at the type of business we did with Barcelona, like Gerry, like players who've come into a big European club and the club are going to very quickly decide to move them on because they haven't got the time or the patience for them to settle. Whereas we've come in and said, yeah, we've got a home for you here. We think we can use you. And like Mina's the best example of that. And Gabigol would be, or Gary Goals, whatever his name is. He would, on paper, he would fit that sort of mould, and I can see why, if it is an agent's rumour, why he's chosen Everton as the club to link him with to generate some interest in his player. I don't think personally there's going to be anything in this. I think it's all silly season type stuff. We don't play with a second striker. We don't. We play with a number 10 and a number 9, and I just don't. Where does he play in the team? Even if there's, say, Sigurdsson and Richarlison get injured or get suspended for a game each at the same game, where does he play? He can't play number 10 because he's a second striker and we're not set up to have that, and he won't play number 9. So, I mean, maybe it's a legit link because, again, the profile's right for that, and South America, Brands has got a big presence there. He looks into the South American market. He finds players there. I don't know though. I just think it doesn't seem like it's a bit of a square peg into a round hole if he comes here. On the face of it, you never know. And I'll back, as Max and yourself said, Gerry, I'll back Brands and Silver all the way until such a time where they prove they're not to be backed. But we're a long way from that at the minute. So every move they've made has been a good one. So if he comes, they've got a plan for him. But I can't see it being a legitimate link.
Something I did notice is he's been also linked with West Ham. And that is a common thing when it comes to agents name dropping in the press. You see us connected with a lot of the same players West Ham is. I'm trying to envision a scenario in a game when you put him in, if we need goals, possibly taking out one of our center mids, rolling with him. I could see that happening if we need a goal late. But could you really see us starting a game like that? And I feel like he would want to play more, and not just come in the last 25 minutes of games, And
yeah.
I don't know. It's a strange scenario, but he's a talented kid. We'd have to be patient with him. It's just I am more skeptical of the Gabigol connection. The fact that we have these new Brazilians on our team, though, kind of, for me, makes it a little more real just because It's like they're getting the band together. You know what I mean? We're getting them back together, man. So it's like these fringe Brazilian players who actually can play and who have needed opportunities. So I am vexed. I lend more credence to the next rumor from Lyon, Tanguy Ndombele. I remember last season when I was doing the opposition view with the kind man from Lyon, who I can't remember his name, but he said, look out for this kid. This kid can play. We just brought him on, and he's a quality player. They got him for $8 million, I think. I think they had a loan with an option to buy, and they took the option to buy. He's currently valued around $40 million now, if that tells you how well he's done. He's a center mid. I think he occasionally drops into defensive mid, more of a center mid player. I believe he'd be competing with Andre Gomez for minutes. Obviously, he's 21 years old, so he's younger. Creative. He's very good with the ball. Energetic. He's got pace. He puts an imprint on games when he's in there. This would give us, I don't know if this would be an instead of Andre Gomez or in addition to coming up in, whenever we would try to make this purchase. But apparently we sent our chief scout out there. This story was just in the Liverpool Echo, I think, today. And as we know, sometimes lately the club has been feeding little bits of information to the Echo. Whenever it comes out first in the Echo, I think maybe there's some credence to it. Again, he's a hell of a player, guys. I think we have a little bit of an issue making sure there's enough playing time to go around for these good players. But it's what having a squad is like.
Yeah, he made his international debut for France not too long ago as well, didn't he?
I think you're right.
So that bodes well for us, and it speaks levels of the quality of player that we're aiming for these days. It's funny because I obviously you mentioned that the first time it come out was through the Liverpool Echo. When I didn't read the article when it come out, when I was being told the segments, I just heard the kid from Lyon. I was thinking straight away, who's that? I thought initially it was the lad who scored against us.
Traore? Who is it?
I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's
Aouar.
Aouar.
Yeah, he's a good player.
So whenever I've watched him, he seemed like a really talented player. But I wouldn't be averse to this at all. Of course, you've got to question whether it's legitimate. For God's sake, it's November. But I wouldn't be against it at all. He played when Lyon beat City not too long ago at the Etihad, and looked to have a real imprint on that game. So, it bodes well and says that he could perform in the Premier League. Whether he'd leave Lyon at the minute, I doubt it. They're playing really well. I think they're second in the French league at the minute, obviously achieving European football consistently. I know we're on the up at the minute, but I think they're just, a peg ahead of us in terms of where you'd want to be.
Supposedly Gerry Mina chose us over Lyon, though.
Yeah, to be honest, that was the first thing I thought when I saw the link today. I saw the article. Really good source, Phil Kirkbride. So it's legitimate. It more or less come from the club directly. But I think that it's the equivalent of someone linking Bernard with playing somewhere who getting sold in January. It's like, why would he be bought? Yeah, why would he be bought by Lyon? And it's not like he's been bought by Lyon and hasn't kicked a ball, and he's like, oh, this is not what I expected. He's playing for them, playing in the Champions League, playing really well. He's towards the top ends of the French leagues. Like, it doesn't, why would he come here? Because as good as we are at the minute, we're not better than Lyon. The way they're playing in the Champions League. They're competing at the top of their division. With my conspiracy theorist hat on, I wonder if we are actually negotiating for a different player in that position, and we have put this story out via well-connected media at the club, to sort of spook another player into, talking to us and coming to a agreement with us, because this just seems like on a lot of different levels a really bizarre link, because he is playing in a team that's in bigger competitions than we are, and he's just got there. So it just makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense unless it is a tactic. We know that these things go on. We know that clubs put stories out. Barcelona did it a lot in the summer over Mina. They put stories out in the press. So we might be going, I don't know whether the Man United link was fabricated from Barca the whole time. And there was even a link for Paul Pogba. Barcelona are going to give 50 million plus Gomez and Mina. So they nearly got our, two of our players. But I don't even think that was legitimate. I think it's just a little bit of gamesmanship from Everton in this case to try and push another player we may be speaking to into either lowering his demands or being direct with us. He could be great for us. It could be legitimate. We could be trying to sign him, and he could come in and he could be great. But it smells suspicious to me.
Well, point out that the article did say we sent our chief scout, inferring that we specifically are going there to run the rule over the player a little more closely. I don't know that infers any kind of negotiation or anything like that. I mean, heck, we send scouts to Portugal, and they update those reports all the time saying what games we're at, every weekend. For me, I see it as a player that we're interested in. I don't know if the player's interested in us. And Terry, great point about the putting the pressure on to another player. That is entirely. It's a game. This marketing, this press game that football clubs play is not something they do in America. This was a totally new experience for me, the way transfer windows work in Europe. It is mind-blowing, and I'm totally addicted to it. I think it's fascinating. It's so cool.
Well, who is legitimately going to try and sign a player and is at the scouting stage and then informs club-connected journalists? We're actually watching this player. So if anyone wants to come in and gazump us, that's the one we're looking at.
It is that. Put it that way, Terry. How could we argue with you? That makes it, putting it in those exact words, I'm just like, well, I'm a fool for thinking this was real. I think that's like super logical. So it's either one of two things. It's what you said, or it's more advanced than it's being portrayed.
Yeah, possibly.
But
even then, I think the source contradicts that. If that comes out in random national press or online, then that's leaked. It's come from the Liverpool Echo, Phil Kirkbride. That is stuff that's off by the club, I think. So I don't believe it. I think no club in the right mind would tell closely linked media, we're scouting this player. It doesn't happen. I think we're looking to smoke another player out. So and I hope whoever that is a good addition, and we'll do a video on him when it comes to light.
So yet again, Terry smothers the positivity in the room. We'll just call him the realist. All right. So I guess that's it for our probable fantasies for Gabigol and Ndombele. They could have been great. Just saying.
Sorry.
Terry just... I love it. If you're digging the videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We're close to 1340 on the subs, and we're growing, and it's wonderful, and it's all you're doing. So thank you. If you would like a big bags full of Terry, Liverpool Echo fan Jury, he shows up there in written form. So if you want to read his words, check him out there. Look at his Twitter. He'll tell you when he's there. Also, Max on his Twitter, he'll tell you when he's he's everywhere. So he'll tell you where he's going to pop up next. It's like, where's Waldo? except it's Max. Also, the Toffee Blues website, he puts analysis on there. He writes pretty words about Everton, so you should check it out. I went all Southern American. You're welcome. I guess that's it for now. That's actually our last video segment. We're going to be bopping over, so if you want to move over to the podcast, it's the If You Know Your History quiz between Max and Terry. Yeah, pin shootout style. Some goals-based questions. Or almost, except for the last one. Clue. That's it. Thanks a bunch, gents. I'll see you on the podcast in a couple minutes. Bye.